This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Haslet HCEDC Type B meeting on Wednesday, November 19th, 2025, and I open the meeting up at 6:31 p.m. We do have a quorum present. Item number 2, administer statement of officer and oath of office to appointed members. So we ask Vista to please assist with that.
If Jeremy's not here,
Jeremy is
you wanna
absent
come up to
tonight.
the podium? You do it there. We'll do the statement of appointed officer first, and you'll just repeat after me.
Okay.
I state your name.
I, Michael Belcher,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not directly
that I have not directly
or indirectly paid,
or indirectly paid,
offered,
offered,
promised to pay,
promised to pay,
contributed,
contributed,
or promised to contribute
or promised to contribute
any money or thing
any money or thing
of value,
of value,
or promised
or promised
any public office
any public office
or employment
or employment
as a reward
as a reward
to secure my appointment
to secure my appointment
or confirmation thereof.
or confirmation thereof.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Beautiful. I was asking you to raise your right hand. That's not bad. We'll do it this time. All right, now the oath of office. I state your name.
I, Michael Belcher,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of
the duties of the office of
board member of Haslet Community and Economic Development Corporation.
board member of Haslet Development.
I got it right here too, if you
Oh,
need it.
yeah, that board member of Haslet Community Economic Development Corporation
For the city of Haslet,
for the city of Haslet,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States and of this state.
of the United States and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
There you go. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome to the board. Okay, before I go any further, I just wanted to reiterate a 3-minute limit on anyone who would like to speak to the board. I know we talked about this sometimes in the past, but I just want to let that be known. I'm sorry, I should have said that in the very beginning of the meeting. Okay, item number 3, election of officers. We have 3.1, treasurer. I believe we have a gentleman on the board who works in that field. So I would ask for a motion for that position.
I'd like to make a motion that we elect, or that to nominate and elect Ian for the position of treasurer.
Okay, I ask for a second.
I second that.
Okay, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate your expertise in that area.
Can I make a statement? I know Ian was previously elected to be the secretary, and I was just going to say, I don't know what the protocol is, but if need be or something, I'm happy to take that position, or if he would like to just be responsible for one position. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. I don't know what the protocol is, but I would be happy to step in case we need another person, or if 2 is too many, 2 positions.
I think I read that you are allowed to hold 2 office positions.
Okay.
But, you know, that's something that we can talk about also to, you know, kind of spread out the officers if we want.
I agree, Kathy. But it's not on our agenda for tonight, so we'll keep that open possibly for next month. to rearrange the leader secretary. Okay, item number 4, citizens' participation and comments. Do we have anyone in the chamber or anyone online that would like to make a comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I will make one comment. I noticed it was not on our agenda, but I just want to call to everyone's attention, the park survey is now open for selection of the favorite items that the community would like to see, how the parks are updated. So I just want everyone to realize that's out there on the Haslet website, and it is open through December 19th, 2025. So I encourage all of us to go out and look at it. It is for Haslet citizens only, and it is one survey per household only. So I just wanted people to be aware.
If I might ask a question, Vista, do you know if that's being sent out to residents? How else could residents fill out that survey?
The link is posted on Facebook. It is in the water bills in the Haslet happenings.
Okay, okay. That's good, because I think that information is going to help inform our decisions on the playground and fall zone.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item number 5, items of community interest. Item 5.1, the City of Haslet and the Haslet Park Library will be closed Thursday, November 27th, Friday, November 28th, Wednesday, December 24th, and Thursday, December 25th. The Haslet Public Library will also be closed Saturday, November 29th. 5.2, Christmas in the Park, Saturday, December 6th, 2025, at the Haslet Community Park from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. The link can be found on the website Christmas in the Park. Item number 6, consent agenda. Discuss, consider, act to approve the October 15, 2025 regular meeting minutes. And 6.2, approval of the November 5th, 2025 special HCEDC meeting minutes. And I would, excuse me, I would like to make note that our financial statements, excuse me a minute. Okay, our financial statements are not available at this time. So I would ask the board if they have any questions on any of the consent agenda items.
I'd like to make a comment on 6.1 for the October 15th meeting. As I read through it, in one of the sections there were some of the comments from attendees, and there was one from Sandra Smith on Gamble Street. And toward the bottom, it said something about, let's see, I forgot where it is. If you can scroll on down there. It was like the very last thing on that front page. Anyway, she had, she made a comment about the property that the board has sold, the property on 105, on 156, that's Mai Tai Restaurant, and then the lot next to it is 201, 156, and then the house at 120 Main Street. And she indicated that the sales have apparently greatly impacted the value of her home, and it wasn't really all drawn out into the minutes there. And she said specifically 120 Main Street, because it says here that she spoke on how the actions of the board have impacted her life. So I would like to add that, if you could, instead of saying how they spoke on how we affected her life, if you could mention the property that was sold at 105 and 201, 156, and then she said 120 Main Street.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Is there any other comments on the notes? Any other corrections anyone see that needs to be done? If not, then I would ask for a motion to approve the notes as submitted with that one correction.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes, the regular minutes for October 15th, 2025, and the special meeting minutes from November 5th.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, I have a second. I will call for a vote from the board. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you, board. Okay, item number 7, reports and presentations. Development report. Mr. Swanky, could you help us with that?
Yes, I will. I'm going to just run through these really quickly because there's some things that have changed significantly on this report than the last ones. And the first thing I want to do is talk about the 2 buildings that are directly behind the new women's clinic on 156. And the one on the left is the one just immediately to the rear of the women's clinic, and it is getting pretty close to being finished. And the other one is getting well along too. They've got a lot of work still to do, but it's making a lot of good progress.
Is there any interest in tenants?
I'm not aware of any tenants yet. And then on Schoolhouse Road at 1096, we have the building, and it's getting pretty well along too. And there's one tenant already signed up for that building, and it's got the capability right now of having 2 tenants. And I believe it's a medical doctor that wants to one of them. And this side here is the Cross City North Church dirt work. This is up on Sweetgrass Boulevard and Haslet Parkway. They're up there breaking ground on a fairly significant building. It'll be rather large. And then we have the Quick Trip, and they've, this is a Harmon Road that they've poured, the extension of it. And right now, today, they started working on the turn lane into this on Haslet Parkway. So if you go out there, they're removing a lot of dirt so they can actually start forming up for a turn lane going eastbound on Haslet Parkway to turn into the site. And this is the Freeman Toyota site, and they're doing a lot of dirt work up there on the hill. There's been a lot of dirt that had to be moved on the site to make it usable. And also, to let everybody know, the zoning case for this has passed, and also the site plan and also the landscape plan, for this area.
Were there any changes to the landscape plan when it was presented to the P&Z?
They actually presented, they came back, they was tabled at one point, it continued, and they came back with additional landscaping on that. I actually have a slide for that if you want to see it. So.
Sure. That's our front
Okay,
yard.
let me run through these, and then I will come back to that. All right. This is just north of Caraway, and this is Pass Drive, right over here, where they're expanding the road, right behind a 300,000 square foot warehouse building. And then they have 2 more buildings that are up here in the front, and they're moving right along with those also. Now, this is one I want to talk to you about for just a little bit. This is the 405 Westport Parkway, and originally it was just an open shell building for industrial type uses, but this company that's moving into it, HCEDC, they refurbish cell phones, and they'll receive about 20,000 cell phones a day. And so it's a fairly big operation. On the report, they originally told me they were going to have approximately 700 employees, but they've revised those estimates down to between 400 and 500 because a lot of it's going to be automated. But this is an existing building in another city that they're moving here. So it's not like it's just a brand new startup company. It's an existing company that they're going to do this.
And sorry to interrupt, but Did they indicate why they decided to move from one city to the
Yes.
city? Maybe you're getting there.
Yeah, they ran out of space at the other facility. This particular building is 400,000 square feet, so it's a giant building. Once you go out there and you look at it and you drive around it, and you go in it. And they've been remodeling the inside of it currently. They've been putting in break room areas for the employees and starting to do a lot of that type of work. They'll probably need to come back in with a revised site plan. We've been talking with them on that because they want to add a CO2 tank. It's something they use when they open up a cell phone to blast it to clean the surfaces and stuff. And so there'll be a CO2 tank that they need to add to the outside of the area somewhere. I think right now currently they're showing it in the front. I'd prefer it to be in the back, but there's some logistics that we're going to be working through on that. But anyway, that's a pretty significant structure, and that's a lot of new employees that are going to be coming and working in the city. And when you have something like that, and all of a sudden you create that many more, it also has a lot of other spin-off businesses that potentially could arise. Even more restaurants, when you have that many people in town, and they're going to be in 2 shifts, so there'll be a chance for some more retail activity.
And has anyone done like an economic evaluation for what that brings to the city?
Well, we're taking a look at that to see if there's any retail taxes to be gained from that.
Yeah.
It may be, the retail sales tax may be claimed at the place where they're turning their cell phones in. We don't know yet. Let me back up a little bit. This building here, the value on it, on the appraisal district, is over $32 million. So just from an ad valorem standpoint, it's a significant structure that it's adding to the general fund of the city. And this is not a rental property. It's been purchased. And so it's an owner-occupied building. Some city projects out at Community Park. This is at the southwest corner where they've been doing trail improvements and drainage improvements, and they're coming right along with that, making good progress. And hopefully that'll be done soon. And then we have the fire station. They're also making good progress with this. It's going to house, some of the offices in there will be with the sheriff's department where they can come in and do some of their paperwork and stuff. But it actually will keep some of the sheriffs in the city a little bit longer than normal because they can do work here. And finally, this is the intersection of Keller Haslet Road and 156, and where the signals have been up for a few weeks, but they're running electricity to them now, and hopefully in the next few weeks they'll actually be able to fire them up and have them working. And that will really impact the traffic situation here when that all gets settled out with all the traffic, because during the middle of the day, and especially in the afternoons and mornings, there's a lot of traffic out here on Main Street. And once this is all in, that traffic will no longer be allowed to come down Main Street and out to 156. It'll be all directed out to 156 instead of through Main Street and through town here. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to try to answer them for you.
Last time I was in Gamble Park, I noticed there was a fenced-off area. Do you happen to know anything about that fenced-off area? What was needing to be repaired or?
I do not.
Okay. My other question is, I think it's North Glen, right there off of Blue Mound Road.
Yes.
I don't see any activity anymore, and I thought that there was going to be a concrete plant building the roads.
It's already done.
It's already done.
The roads are already in.
Okay.
And normally concrete, it's one of those things where after you pour concrete, it doesn't reach its maximum strength for 28 days. And so really there's no activity on the road itself, but it's out there, it's poured.
I haven't seen any housing.
No, you won't. You won't. After they do the roads, they're going to, normally the normal process is eventually regrade the lots, make sure all the utilities are
Okay.
back in place, in case they were, moved or damaged during the street construction, but they'll come shortly.
Okay.
Leah, did you have something to say?
I was at the park today, and it looks like the fenced-off area now has a barbecue. So I don't know, but my guess is it's going to be like a shade structure with seating and a place to cook, what it looks like.
I'm not aware.
I just have a general question, and maybe this is beyond the scope of this meeting, but I'm just curious, what's the strategy or what's the vision behind how we decide the mix between what gets zoned as residential versus what gets zoned as commercial? And how does that fit into a broader vision or strategy for Haslet 5-10 years from now?
That's a good question. That's one of the things that early on when I started working here, we developed a revised master land use plan, which is a vision for the city, just how the city wants to be when it grows up. And there's a lot of things that you have to take into account. You know, one of them is thoroughfares, you know, making sure there's adequate, you know, park facilities, and also making sure there's a good mix. Now, as far as residential land, most of the residential land is already built. And so there's not going to be a whole bunch more residential land in the city. And most of the rest of it is zoned industrial or airport facilities. And once it's zoned, and it's been zoned that way for a number of years. And one of the things that you really can't do is if you go out there and say, we're going to rezone your industrial property to a residential district, it's considered a taking, and you'll find yourself in court faster than you can.
Mr. Schwenke, isn't there still land behind Old Town that's residential? I think there's,
There
what,
is-
20 or 30 acres back there?
Yeah, there's some of the old town, we when that was actually already zoned as residential, but most of the, and it's actually earmarked for 20,000 square foot lots. It's not for small lots like some of the Caraways or the Sweetgrass.
Yeah,
or
one
the
half
Vines.
acre lots?
With 20,000 square feet lots. But there is a little bit of area right back here. And that land is owned, all of it's owned by Hillwood. So they're a long hold.
So if I want to like nerd out on my question, you're saying I need to go and look at this master land use plan, and that'll give me details behind what I'm asking for.
That is the vision of the city.
Okay, perfect.
And it was adopted by the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council. And
When
that's-
was that adopted again?
When?
Mhm.
It was, if I need to, I'll pull it up here.
Okay.
And we'll look at the date. It's got a date on it. But it was several years ago. And master land use plans are usually visited every 5 to 10 years in case things change. And but that's what it is now. So it's a key document. And one of the things under local government code, section 211, is that and that's the zoning chapter in the local government code. It says zoning has to be patterned after a comprehensive plan or master land use plan, and that is found in chapter 213. The chapter in between is subdivision rules and regulations, but chapter 213 is comprehensive plan, and you can find this online on the local government code. But 211 is the zoning, but the zoning is supposed to follow after the master land use plan. So if the master land use plan shows this area as residential and somebody comes in with for a zoning change and it doesn't match up with your master land use plan, that's one of the things I know I'm going to flag. In fact, when we have a zoning case, it's one of the things I show on the screen is what does the comprehensive plan show, and does it match up? And it's just like out on the corridor along 35 and between 35 and Harmon, that's all shown as commercial. So when Freeman Toyota comes in, they ask for a commercial zoning district, and we recommend approval because that's what the city, I'm going to call them the city fathers, said they wanted, and so that's what we recommend.
Mr. Swanky, I think I heard that the company that was going to build at the corner of Harmon and is it Keller
Keller Hicks?
Keller Hicks, the large entity that was going to come in there, that they pulled out of
Yes.
the city of Haslet. Is that true?
That's true. They pulled out of it. It's not quite official yet, but they have requested to be taken out of the city limits. And one of the reasons for that is we could not guarantee them zoning. Unfortunately, because if you guarantee them, make a contract with them for zoning, it's called contract zoning, and in Texas, that's illegal. However, but the reason why I say it's unfortunate is they're going to do it anyway, exactly, pretty much the building just like they were showing it, except now we won't get any taxes or revenue from it. And that's the real shame. It's going to come no matter what.
Well, if it's illegal in the state of Texas, how do other cities bring ETJ properties into their city limits?
Well, they bring it in, you can annex property into the city limits, but it still has to go through the zoning process.
And what was the problem again? I'm trying to understand the zoning issue.
Yeah, when they come in and they ask for industrial zoning, we have a neighborhood over there called Caraway that probably everyone in that neighborhood is going to probably come out and speak in opposition. And when you have an elected board of people and you have an auditorium filled with people saying we don't want this, what are they going to do? They're probably going to deny it.
I understand, but I thought that was already zoned commercial.
It's not even in the city.
Okay, so there was no zoning on the land whatsoever?
No, it's in the ETJ.
Okay, now I understand.
Yeah. It
Yes.
was in the ETJ. Before they could have a zoning, it had to come into the city. And when it came into the city, we have to hold public hearings, on the zoning. And I would guarantee you that the neighborhoods over there would probably come out in force in opposition to industrial zoning. In some ways, I don't blame them. However, what they're going to get is exactly the same thing, except now the city gets no benefit, except you have a building there.
What was the street? You said Harmon?
Harmon and,
Keller Hicks,
so it's that large,
65 acres.
million square foot.
It was a 1 million square foot building.
Yeah, it's by the fireworks
Yeah.
stand. It's the
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
one in that general area, sorry.
Yeah, it was,
I've already tried to fight that.
what's that?
And I've already tried to fight that.
And there you go. A Caraway resident's fighting it. I wonder why. But anyway, it's one of those things where for the city, it's a loss because we're going to get it no matter what. We're going to have that except we don't get the benefit of the tax base.
I'm still confused because I thought when I was at that meeting,
You were at a plat meeting,
I was at a plat meeting.
different animal.
And so the next step was,
The next step was to be annexed and then zoned. And we had meetings with them, and the questions come up, can you guarantee us zoning? And you can't do that. Our attorneys were on the phone call too, and that's pretty much universal. You cannot contract for zoning.
I guess I thought it was a done deal.
Oh, no. Unfortunately. But, like I say, unfortunately, because it's going to be there, but yet we don't receive any value.
Okay, Mr. Swanky, I think you were going to revert back to another property and a question that Laura had.
Yeah, landscape. Let me see here.
I think it was the property,
Yeah.
the Toyota, yes, there's a landscape plan picture of the Toyota property.
Yeah, originally, there was these trees along this is Harmon Road out here for reference. And this is just the western half of the site, and over here you can see the big power easement going through the property. And they went back and they added shrubbery and stuff in between all the other trees, so it's more of a screening buffer than they had before. So yeah, they did change it. And this is just further down. So it's all along there. And this is the other half of the property to the east of what we just looked at. See if I can shrink that just a little bit. Yeah, this is out here on the Interstate 35. And what the commission wanted was more landscaping over here on this side here, and they did provide it. And I'm getting a lot of blinking there for some reason. Okay.
Okay, all right, any other questions for Mr. Swanky? All right, moving to 7.2, update regarding emails for the HCEDC board members. Vista, do you know who's going to present that?
No, it's not.
Yeah, we can move that to next month's meeting if we need to. Skipping, yes, we'll postpone that till the December meeting.
You know, I will say just one thing about having emails regarding, just what you need to have is you need to make sure on city business that you use the city emails. And the reason why, and I've seen it happen in other cities, if there's a lawsuit or something and you're using your personal stuff, they can subpoena your personal.
We don't have them. That's why we're asking.
Yeah.
Right, we don't have them, and all the board members want it.
Okay.
And so we've been requesting for the last 3 months to have emails added, and we've been told there's reasons why it hasn't happened, so I thought that
We'll check into it and see what's
Yeah.
going on.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll move that to December. Okay, item 8, discuss, consider, and act regarding all properties and property management reports. We have 102 Westport Parkway and 181 Schoolhouse Road. Those two properties are still up for sale, but we have no new updates from the realtors who are handling that, so nothing new to add at that point. Moving to item number 9, 9.1, discussion of HCEDC Resolution 001-2025, adoption of a project funding the replacement of playground equipment and safety fall zone at the Haslet Community Park and the playground at Nance Field. And Mr. Schwanke, according to your advice, I think one of our board members, Leah, went to that convention that was here in Fort Worth, and I think you did too. So
Yes.
if you guys want to give us an update with what you learned.
Okay, well, I'll start off, but I didn't see Leah there. I don't know if she went by our booth or not, but I went around and looked at all the major playgrounds, and I actually got catalogs from every one of them, and I've actually given those to Katrina and to hopefully forward to the Parks Board for that. And I knew that Leah was going around because some of the people I talked to says, we talked to Leah already. So we were doubling up on them. And I've been receiving actually some emails, from the different people, wanting to talk about some of that. And so, yeah, it was a good conference. And like I said, all the major players were there, and it's a big conference, and there's a lot of booths and a lot of different equipment, and they had a lot of new catalogs to show and equipment to show. So I'll let Leah take it from there then.
Well, I totally agree. It was absolutely worth it to go. I have catalogs stacked this high. I've been flagging through them because I really want the Parks Board and EDC and Haslet just to come together and have an awesome, awesome park. But it was interesting. Everyone I talked to across the board said that the budget should be more than enough to get great fall surface or surfacing and great equipment. So budget looks like it's going to be spot on. And then it seemed that almost unanimous across the board that turf is the new in fall surface over the poured-in plastic just due to maintenance and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see once Parks gets involved and things like that. But I think that budget-wise, we should be on like setting a great ample budget so that we can have great equipment both at Mansfield and at Community Park. And there's so much fun stuff. Like kids are gonna have a great time in Haslet once this goes through because there's so many fun new kinds of play that, you know, we'll just build off of what is in Gamble and just make a great park. So I'm excited for it.
Did you see any themed playground equipment?
There's a lot of themes, pirates and
Yeah.
states and football. I mean, there's all sorts of themes that you can pick. Now it is more expensive to go with themes, so, you know, but there's so many fun things. There's like fairy tales and castles and dragons. It's really fun.
That's exciting. That's exciting to hear. This should be absolutely a fun project. And one of the things that I wanted to update the board with is the Parks Group, Parks Board had their meeting a couple weeks ago, and they assigned 2 park members to work with this board, added to the committee that will be working on the playground equipment. And I believe that was Sarah Newby and Cindy Laird. So we have a collaborative effort amongst this board and the park board to pull this project off, which is a fairly large and significant project for Haslet. Our large playground area hasn't been replaced in 17, 18 years. So it's certainly time, and it's exciting to look at some new equipment and new things that the kids will have an absolutely fantastic time playing on. So thank you guys both for the update.
And I saw 2 other council members were there too, Carruthers and then Tanya Morrow, Mayor Pro Tem, was there at the conference. And I talked to them a little bit too.
Oh, great. Great, that's good to hear. And so another update, our resolutions did not make it to the November council meeting, so I've asked for them to appear on the December council meeting. So before any spendable dollars can be done on any of these projects, we need to wait for council's approval. And then once that happens, we are in the 60-day waiting period to hear from the community. Any objections, correct?
What'll happen is, once the city council gets on their agenda, I'm going to put an ad in the paper starting the 60 days. And once that ad appears, it's 60 days from then.
Okay, so then that, if my math's right, moves us into mid-February before real actionable items can actually take place. But
Towards the end of January, should be.
okay, so in the meantime, we can do some investigative work, and that's we'll wait and see how this all plays out. But looking forward to working on it. Okay, 9.2, the HCEDC Resolution 002-2025, adoption of a project reimbursing the City of Haslet for a portion of cost incurred while rejoining the Metroport Chamber of Commerce. We're just waiting for City Council's approval, and then that action should take place at the end of January, beginning of February, if no issues with the public. And then 9.3, discussions of the HCEDC Resolution 003-2025, adoption and project funding the concrete surfacing of the parking lot located in Nance Field. And Mr. Swanky, you have some information for us?
Yes, I do. At the meeting where we talked about concrete, this board asked me what would I prefer, concrete or asphalt, and I said I'd always prefer concrete. I talked to our engineer. He absolutely said concrete is the best surface. But I have found out more information. First off, the cost of that, if it's just concrete for what we're showing out there, it would be right at $750,000 to put it in concrete at a minimum. And for a permanent surface like that, we'd have to add irrigation, which is another cost, and also some retaining walls, because when you go out to Nance Field, there's actually a slope off. But also, what I learned since then is that, there's going to be a master parks plan that's developed. And we don't know what the configuration of the Nance Fields are. I've heard some rumors that they may want to add some land and actually maybe do some flipping in some fields, and that parking may not be quite where it needs to be. And if it's put in asphalt, it's something we can reuse, grind up and reuse as base. So it's not wasted money, but it's something that we can reuse. But until we know exactly what the park plan shows and how we want to do that, because that parking, if we just do one row of parking, it may be not what we want. We may want 2 rows of parking, or, with 2 drives coming out. We just don't know. And if we do that, there'll definitely be some more retaining walls. So it's a more significant project than the 200,000. And those numbers are coming from our engineer, and this is based upon when we were doing the Hurley Street parking lot, 2 years ago. The cost of that concrete was $240 a square foot. So it's a very expensive project when you start looking at a permanent type facility, because it's not only do you have the concrete, but you take out dirt and you put in a road base. A lot of times it's a TxDOT road base where it's some kind of crushed rock underneath of it. And you'd have to haul that all in, and so it becomes a very expensive project. And so the feeling was that what we put out there needs to be a temporary instead of a permanent type surface, and something that can control the dust at this time and work a little bit better with the drainage out there, but not the permanent solution. The permanent solution should come after the park's master plan and everybody signed off on it. This is exactly where it is. So that's one of my recommendations would be perhaps not, calling this a concrete, but, working with the asphalt. And we've got an agreement with the county that they'll come in and do the asphalt at a fairly reasonable price. In fact, the price for the asphalt is $58,000, but there's other things. That's just from the trail to the east. And then there's also from the trail to the street. And that's where our engineer says the rest of that money, the other $120,000 that it's going to take, fits in there, is to make sure that fits, and also the drainage will work on that temporary surface. But the asphalt we would put out there, if we go that way, would be reusable. So it's not money just down the drain. But if we put concrete, it's a little bit harder to chop it up and move it after it's already paved. So that's why I want to report. That's what I found out since our last meeting here, that we may want to adjust our recommendations and our
So
resolution.
if I heard you correctly, the 200,000 would be sufficient enough for the asphalt?
Yes.
Okay. Did city council approve to have an architect do this master plan? I can't recall.
They've talked about it, and they've got a budget number in their budget, but they haven't hired anybody yet.
I thought I recall in one of the meetings that a master plan had already been done and spent $300,000 on.
They've got in their budget $300,000 to do one, but there's been some plans that have done in the past. I've never seen them, but I've heard that there's been some things done. But in fact, there's several different ones, I understand, but I have not seen any of them.
Is this something that would be in our records online?
I don't think it'll be online, but it should be in
Okay.
our records somewhere.
Okay, so I was just hoping to save some money.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Do we have an estimated time frame? Like, how long does it take for a master plan? Like, is it something we might have in 6 months, in a year? Is it 3 years? 'Cause
It depends on how long it takes them to advertise and get bids to do it. That could be a several-month process, and then you need some time to do the survey work and go out there and actually do the plan work. And so it could take a year.
if we're talking 1 year, is it even worth it to do the asphalt? I mean, the parking lot, I was just there today. It's okay. It's not ideal, but if we're talking about 1 year time frame, maybe we don't do anything. And then
Yeah.
once we have the master plan, then we say, let's go ahead and put the concrete in and do the extra expense.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that, when I started just fiddling around with the playground itself, which I was doing a little bit here with the ballparks, is if they do something different with that driveway, that playground may be in the wrong spot. And I hadn't, so I started developing, you know, it's just a thought I had. Maybe it should be moved somewhere else. That just I don't know. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, we could redo it and perhaps move it later, but it's best not to do that, especially with the surface. It's something we just need to consider, you know, and talking to the Parks Board. But
What is the main need? Is it because it's so muddy?
and dusty.
And
dusty.
dusty. And when it does rain, it flows over the walking path and just creates a real mess in the road.
What about crushed rock? Would that help at all if we did something like that?
If you would dig out the surface, something I have found for a parking lot is the best is crushed concrete. If you cut after a few rains on crushed concrete, it turns hard and you can drive on it and there's no dust. But it's expensive. You got to have some place where, you know, to haul it in from. But you know, it's one of the things. Asphalt is at least it's money not wasted. You can reuse the materials. And so at this point, I think it's my understanding that the asphalt may be the best solution for a temporary to keep the dust down, help with the mud, but yet we can reuse it.
And so is the infrastructure of the lot itself going to have to be done? At the retaining wall you talked about, irrigation system you talked about?
Eventually,
Yes, is
but
all
not
that?
not with asphalt.
Not with asphalt?
Not with asphalt.
Okay.
Because we'll just need to consider it a temporary solution, you know, to do some of these things until we know what the final solution is through the master plan, and whatever they come up with, and the city signs off on, then we can move towards those goals. But now the goal would be to control the dust and help drain that a little bit better, you know, having the surface.
And if you go with asphalt as compared to concrete, what problems are you still left with if you go with asphalt?
Well, the asphalt's not a long-term solution. You know, I think I mentioned this last time. The thing about asphalt, the more traffic on asphalt, the longer it'll stay because it keeps the molecules hot. Because, you know, the parking lot's not going to have much traffic on it. So, but in the short term, it'll be okay. You know, for 3 or 4 or 5 years even, maybe even longer. Depends on it. You know, we don't know. I don't know at this point if it's going to be I think it's going to be just a 2-inch overlay at this point. But if it was going to be more of a permanent, we'd want to go with a 4-inch. Really encapsulate it and make it stronger.
Okay, so the real difference in asphalt and concrete, if I understand you correctly, is just its lifespan.
Lifespan.
Okay.
Okay, and the playground that's tucked back to the back behind the concession stand, you say might be at risk for a driveway? How would we access the back of the lot from that direction?
Going right through the playground. That's why I say it may be in the wrong spot.
So, but doesn't our land end at the fence line of that playground?
Currently.
Currently, okay, I understand. I understand. Obviously, I don't think anyone on this board wants to spend $1 that we're gonna have to go back and rip out and spend, you know, $5 down the road on something that isn't wanted.
I just want to make sure everybody considers the whole thing. You know, the playground maybe, you know, not exactly where it needs to be. And the parking lot needs to be probably temporary because we really don't know at this point. But say if it stays exactly the same, great. We dig up the asphalt, put it in a pile, dig more of a hole there where concrete can go, put the asphalt back in there as part of the base, and then put concrete on top. But it's just not wasted if you do asphalt.
Do we need to consider taking that out of the resolution if we're not sure that we will be replacing it if it is in a roadway? Do we have to do that now, or could we maybe take a field trip out there? I don't know, wait and see what happens with this master plan a few months from now?
I would feel more comfortable withdrawing our resolution, and maybe if we talk to the people in the Parks Board, see like, is this master plan a priority? Are you gonna drag your feet and take 2 or 3 years to do it? Like, if we can have a solution for 2 or 3 years, or even 4 years, that $200,000 to me seems okay. But the idea of me spending $200,000 and it's ripped out the next year makes me sick to my stomach. I don't want to do that. So maybe we
Well,
just.
I was also talking about a resolution 9.1, because we're replacing the playground at Nance Field.
Yeah.
So you're kind of considering us holding on the resolution for the parking lot, but I'm also wondering if we have to edit the resolution for the playground equipment.
I think really what we need is a little bit more direction from the Parks Board and from City Council, because this was a City Council
Yeah.
driven action.
Yeah, I think what you could do is this, is on the playground, I would leave the playground resolution just the same. It doesn't mean
Intact.
you have to spend all that money,
Okay.
but yet let the Parks Board, and it doesn't mean you have to spend it right away. You got the resolution, it's a project. There's nothing in the project that says, by the end of this year, we have to have it done.
Well, I
Sir-
figured, if you're going to get 2 playgrounds, you'll want to buy it at the same time to save on freight. I don't know.
I don't think that'll.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
They're going to charge you by the pound on that. And then on the it's my understanding the council wants to do something with the parking lot, and so instead of concrete, you just strike out the word concrete and put in asphalt. That way it would solve the issue. And then I don't anticipate it costing that much either. But yet, whatever you put down there, it's salvageable. It's not wasted money.
Is this something that should be tabled for the time being? And I don't know if you can table a resolution.
Well, I think something needs to happen because, if you table it here, the council, actually, we have resolutions already prepared for the council. But if you change this resolution and then approve it, then we would just modify the resolutions that are ready for the council. That way, if the council says, yeah, we want to go ahead and asphalt it, it's ready to go.
What
So-
do you all,
If you modify the resolution, can you modify a resolution, or do you have to scratch that one and create a new one?
I think that would be a legal question. We can ask our lawyer how that's to be managed, but you're suggesting, Mr. Swanky, that we change the word concrete to asphalt?
Yes, I would.
do you have any feelings, Ian or Michael?
Nothing
I
like being
hear,
put
I
on the
hear
spot.
I hear what Leah's saying. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
it's all really kind of dependent on how long this master plan's going to take and what's the bigger picture, and we don't know what that larger picture is, but I agree. I don't think we want to spend even $200,000 if it's a very short time period that something else might be asked for. So I'm almost leaning toward putting it in the Parks and the City Council's hands and ask them what's the bigger picture here? How can
Yeah.
we help?
And you can do that. You can do that by the resolution, and you don't have to do all the resolutions at one time. There's some of them that I think are okay, like the reimbursement of the $20,000. That that
That's
is what it is.
That's a no-brainer, right? No action.
And I think the playground one is also okay. The money is there, but it doesn't mean you have to spend all of it. Or you might say, okay, as you're going through the process, and the Parks Board said, hey, can we just hold off on this portion of it? And you can do that, but the money's been earmarked for that.
I agree. I mean, we can modify this resolution as we go, as we make determinations, what's the best path forward collectively.
Yeah.
And they could approve it and we could still pull it after that, right?
True. Yes, just because they approve it doesn't mean we spend it, that we have to spend it.
Yeah, because you'll have to come back and take another action on it. It is they would have identified it as a project. It just becomes an unfunded project if you decide not to fund it.
It sounds like we need kind of a break or something for a couple of months until some other information is available.
Hurt.
That's what I was thinking.
It would really be nice to have that master plan in the works so we know where we're going.
Okay, well, no action was to be taken tonight, so your information is timely. Thank you, Mr. Swanky. And so right now, we'll just not take any action until we find out a little bit more from the other two boards.
Okay, and I would also ask that you have me tell the mayor not to put maybe that parking lot on the agenda.
Well, I'd like to hear what the council has to say.
Okay.
So if they choose to put it on the agenda, I think it would be a good conversation to hear.
Okay.
Yes, that's my view. How does the rest of the board feel? I mean, it doesn't hurt for them to talk about it.
And, you know, I'm going to say, yes, change it to asphalt. But getting more information from city council to determine if we want to do it now or wait. It's a project that could be approved and funded, but just waited on until the master plan comes into.
I agree with that comment.
Yeah, I agree also, because if we go ahead and change it now to asphalt, and even if city council approves it, then if we hear that the master parks plan is in the works, then we're gonna say, okay, we're not gonna fund it and we have that right, that's totally within our prerogative.
Yes.
Okay. I just don't wanna get locked in and then be like,
There's no time
We're
limit,
done.
is there, with projects? There's no,
No, a project may last multiple years.
well, without inaction, or without action.
No, I don't know of anything that would
Okay.
just say stop
Okay, so are we in agreement that we just don't make any changes at this point in time? We take no action on any of items 9.1, 9.2, 9.3?
I think on 9.3, we changed it to asphalt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then we will have to vote, and if indeed we change it, then we have to have a new resolution, and it won't be able to go before the board in December.
Does it have to be, we're not voting because we're not taking, there is no action to be taken for this
Well,
resolution, it's just a discussion.
right,
but if
but
I
we would
underst-
have to vote to actually change the resolution. Oh, it does say discussion. It doesn't say discussed, act,
No.
and consider.
What we'd do is back another resolution with that asphalt in there.
Yeah, but then that delays it. I was hoping that the city council can have this discussion in December. So if we take no action whatsoever, they can discuss it as is, and they can give direction. They're our higher level board. So we're gonna follow their lead.
But they would be discussing concrete.
We discuss concrete, but then they can, now with this more fluid information that Mr. Swanky shared with us, I'm sure they're going to be looking at it as well, and they'll know what that information is, and they can give direction. Is that correct, Mr. Swanky?
I would actually prefer you pass another resolution saying asphalt, and so they have that in their, as their discussion item.
And can they still discuss it this coming meeting in December?
Yes, that's the problem. We don't want to delay their discussion in December. If we change a resolution, it postpones it another 30 to 60 days out. That's my concern. So I would rather leave it as is, and we take no action, and we let city council give us some direction. Yeah. Because the fact of the matter is, we're not going to be locked into anything until this board really votes on moving forward and we have the approval from city council. So we're still in a period of till mid-February before anything truly can be decided.
Well, let me ask a question for you. Would it be, anybody have a problem with having a special meeting that takes just a few minutes to pass a resolution?
Yeah, but that still postpones city council's,
No.
not necessarily.
No. Because if you have a special meeting, say the 1st of December, or even the 3rd, which is a Wednesday.
But my thought pattern here is no decision's going to be made one way or the other. So for us to have another special meeting to change it to asphalt really is not going to lock us into anything that will benefit the city council's discussion.
What if one of us wrote in for public comment and requested that the city council discuss asphalt rather than concrete?
Well, they can't on city comments. They have to have it on an agenda item for them to discuss.
Therein lies the problem. If it says concrete, they're going to discuss concrete. And that concerns me a little bit when we're looking at more asphalt.
Well, just like us, we discussed concrete, but we came to the conclusion asphalt's a better solution. So if we can make a change tonight, there's no reason why city council can't make a change that night as well. I mean, the rules are that they have the authority to determine what's to be done. And to me, in my view, I don't even think they'll make that decision until we have the master plan, because I think that kind of drives everything, and that's still a ways out. And we don't know. Maybe they're going to be discussing the master plan in their December meeting. We really don't know what's on their agenda. So my comment is there's no reason for us to make a change. If we make a change, we've got to write a new resolution. If we write a new resolution, we've got to wait several months out. And right now, we just don't know.
That's why I'm saying the resolution, you change it from asphalt from concrete to asphalt would take about 30 seconds to do. And so it's just a matter of having a meeting to do it.
But don't we have to get our legal involved, and it has to go through the process?
Change one word?
Can I just ask what changing one word enables for the council that it doesn't enable today?
Well, they discuss what's on the agenda.
Okay.
That's what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to be deviating and starting talking, going down rabbit paths of what if this.
Yeah, but shouldn't they be considering the optionality around a project, whether it be concrete or asphalt or crushed concrete? Like,
That's
just
what
because
we're
it's-
doing.
Right.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think that the agenda item can be written broadly enough for them, considering they review our board and our discussions, that they can talk about anything.
Well, I've already written the staff reports and, for all those items. I had them 2 weeks ago. I can actually go back and revisit that one and say, the board has discussed and after further discussion, they think even though it says concrete in the resolution, they would like to consider asphalt.
Yes,
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's what we'd like.
please.
Okay? I will do that then.
Thank you.
That was a good discussion, and definitely one needed. Okay, 9.4, discuss, consider, and act regarding an ad hoc workshop training session for the HCEDC board member by Toast. I would like to make a motion to move this item to our December meeting, and I would like to change it from ad hoc workshop to executive session training and move that to December. So my motion is to move this particular meeting to an executive session training for the HCEDC board members by our legal representation. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? That's unanimous. Okay, 9.5, discuss, consider, and act on establishing agenda processes for the board. I'd like to move this into our executive session at this time. So I will read the executive session material, which is the Haslet Community and Economic Development Corporation reserves the right to adjourn into executive session during the meeting to seek legal advice from its attorney regarding any item on the posted agenda as authorized by Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. So I will close the open meeting at 7:37. Hello, everyone. I'd like to open the open meeting back up at 9:02. And I will go to item number 11, consider an act on items from executive session. We have none at this point in time. Future agenda items. I open it up to the board to make comment for the future agenda items.
I have an item I'd like to add, that we bring back the economic grant process that was sent to the former attorney for updates. We'd like to send that to our new attorney for review, and possibly form a committee to help with that.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other future agenda items? I believe we asked for one to be carried forward. That is 7.2, the update regarding emails for the HCEDC board members. That can be on the future agenda item. Do we have any others?
I believe we also wanted to bring forward the training
Yes.
for our December meeting.
Right, so the two bring forwards are the emails for the HCEDC board members and then the future training for the HCEDC board in executive session. Is there any other?
Kitty, do we need to bring
Request.
forward also the agenda setting, the agenda set procedure? Do we need to include that next time as well?
Let's let the lawyer have time to update that, and if she's able to update it, I'll add it into the future agenda item. But good point, Kathy, thank you.
And what about the resolutions? I think there were a couple of them, we said that we were going to wait to see, I guess, what council decides to do. Should we still put them on the future agenda?
I think rolling forward for the next couple, 3 months, you'll see those on the agenda at all times, just in case we have discussion that needs to be brought up. But not sure what action will actually take place. It will probably just be a discussion item.
Okay.
Any others? Okay, I call this meeting adjourned at 9:04.